Anthrocon 2023, and with 10,000 pre-registration, how to become the largest FurCon again. Anthrocon 2022 required either a full COVID-19 vaccination or a negative test. 2023 will continue this policy, although encouraging, but not requiring boosters. Historically contrasts with furry weekend lineup, which drops vaccination and mask requirements. The COVID-19 emergency ended on May 11th, after Way's first day, cutting federal funding for tests. Although it saw 10,328 attendees, a 41.5% increase from 2022, it also resulted in a lot of infections, particularly from unvaccinated and unmasked attendees. While Anthrocon still require masks in high density and high contact areas, all other areas were mask optional, but still encouraged. Easy attendees concerned about being infected might outweigh those unwilling to vaccinate or mask. I asked attendees on if they believe cons will continue to have these policies in place.
Yes, eventually. It's not a pandemic anymore.
It's hard to tell because cons seem to have been all over the place in the last year with what their actual policies are. Maybe they will drop the requirements later on or tighten them up. I've seen cons have kept it where Anthrocon is. It seems to work well.
I incorporated other attendees' experience to give a better feel what the cons like, getting a press badge to do so. Like last year, I got registered from someone who couldn't attend, but with the same people in transportation. Opening ceremonies was on Thursday afternoon instead of Friday morning, highlighting how much convention has grown since 2022. The pre-ledge line started forming 3 hours before it opened. We entered the building early due to unhealthy hair quality from the Canadian wildfires, and I got my badge and sponsor guests. I tried getting my escorted press badge, which led me all over the convention center before getting it. I conducted interviews for 2 hours and handed my badge over afterwards, appreciating my interviewing style and respectfulness. However, I was unable to conduct further interviews due to concerns about being mistakenly reported for unauthorized media. Since 2006, Anthrocon was responsible for $80 million of economic activity and projected $13 million in 2023. Attendees were scattered in 16 partner hotels, up from 12 last year. This is stark contract to Midwest FurFest 7, and ever since 2019, they had a lottery to distribute the rooms equitably.
It's both hit and miss. I like the room lottery system. I would like if they increase the ability of the system to process all 10,000 people submitting requests to it at the same time. A lot of people that had a room confirmed, and then when they tried to check out, the system crashed and they lost it. A lot of my friends who are dealers don't like having to do lotteries with everyone else because then if they don't get a room, they can't vend at that convention even if they got accepted to the dealer's den. Maybe adjusting it in the future so that the dealers can actually get both if they are accepted.
Media presence also increased, and this was likely a reason why I was unable to get an unescorted media badge. However, there didn't seem to be a problem of disrespect or unauthorized recording unlike other previous FurCons.
Usually you put more security out. They would stop them before they would happen.
It's hard to tell because the last few times we saw that type of stuff happen, they got it taken care of pretty quickly. So I think what we're doing right now is working pretty well. Where they get removed, all the stuff they do before that point is what you have to deal with at the time. I wouldn't say they need to do more. Being able to react quickly will get it taken care of fast.
This year will mark the 25th anniversary of Anthrocon's 1998 incorporation. The weather was a problem, as the fursuit parade and block party were being questioned due to possible rain. The charity is Rabbit Wranglers, focusing on city rabbits. Stickers placed in the convention center and on poles were discouraged, and Anthrocon would have to pay Pittsburgh for removal. However, Pizza Para, aka Furryland, encouraged stickers on their bathroom doors. At the wildfire, falling was strongly discouraged, along keeping night and noise levels down. While there were shuttle buses last year to bring attendees to hotels, this year there were trackers. I headed over to Gil Frostbane's First Doing 101, which unfortunately was in the same room as last year. We went through posing and walking, then audience participation. We were taken back to 2006 as emos listening to music, and running around before the power was cut out. The last month saw everyone at Anthrocon meeting friends and seeing new people before a mysterious person shows up. They want a hug, we got greasy food, and then shower tries getting us, where the first tourists tried running away before cleaning them. I participated in the change show trying to determine whether a statement is a fact or a persona trait. There are 5 questions, 3 or higher getting prizes. The previous one got all 5. I was doing well in the first 2, but thought fish with human teeth was a persona trait when it was real. The last question was on cloning, and I guessed real, which was technically right. The audience determined it was, and I got 4 questions right, which got me $15. It ended early, so I headed over to the pool toy panel, my favorite. I didn't have to move the tails as they were already pushed away, and immediately started inflating my pool toys. As more came, I started inflating other furries' pool toys. Eventually the panel started and there were a lot of attendees. I got into a giant balloon not once, but twice, and I was bouncing away in the panel room. Eventually the panel ended, we had to deflate and pack them away. I headed to the dealer's den and got a rechargeable portable fan as my last one broke. It had USB-C and a display for a battery percentage and fan speed, which is an upgrade. I went down to Furryland to finally get a ball pole, which was sold out last year. Next was the pin train panel, and I got a lot of good pins, like lots of Huskies, Anthem New England 2022, and furthermore 2023. I started the plush shooter meetup, taking some photos with them. There was a controversy surrounding a minor in an intimate cuddle pile, resulting in the panel being shut down. However, I was at other panels before arriving an hour early to the fursuit parade to get a good spot, along with me other fursuiters. Due to the rise in attendance from last year, there wasn't a fursuit photo, but there'd be a lot of photos during the parade. I played my giant glow balloon and held it until the parade started. We were in the middle next to some of my friends, and we watched as the fursuiters on the right slowly falling out. It didn't help that one of the 2 escalators broke. Eventually though, we started walking out where we were met by a lot of people recording, and I waved at them. Fortunately, it didn't rain during the parade, and we headed outside where we met by large cheering crowds. It ended inside the convention center, where we took off our heads to cool down and hydrate again. I went to plenty of panels afterwards. I tried getting a fursuit badge like last year, but the staff questioned whether my fursuit was real, although they eventually gave it. I went to the dealer's stand one last time to get a sticker from the charity and a husky plushie. The fursuit games involved a lot of running, which I'm good at. But we didn't win, we had a great time. Then was our first science presentation, which I wanted to attend last year but had schedule conflicts. There was a lot of info about the fandom and how it changed over time. I asked about fascist Florida Governor Ron DeSantis passing an anti-drag law that resulted in Florida-based FurCon Megaplex restricting attendance to adults.
I'm 50-50 bittersweet on that, but it'd be nice if they actually have quality.
I think it will be an issue depending on where they are and what the wording of the law is. I just hope that we don't get any more laws like that. We don't need any more Ron DeSantis here in the U.S. I think staying in Florida, working through that court system to get all that stuff removed will help us out in the future. It's just having to deal with it while it's in place.
The discussion was very interesting, and I filled out the survey. At the hotels, attendees were well behaved, didn't receive many complaints, and didn't have stickers on walls. The local station brought fursuiters to the studio. They even asked the weather person for no rain until after the fursuit parade. Pittsburgh's a great city, but it's only great because of the people, and Anthrocon's a great convention because of the attendees. There was also the least ambulance calls in the history of the con. Unfortunately, 38 stickers were placed on convention center property, and a $250 fine per sticker was $9,500 in fines. Fortunately, it was empty without an aggressive police force. As I was waiting, I played a strategy game with another attendee, which I won. The bus showed up on time instead of being delayed hours like last year. I met a lot of old and new furries this year. One question remained though. Did Anthrocon beat Midwest FurFest 2022's attendance of 13,641 become the largest FurCon again?
No, eventually will.
We're seeing a big upward trend right now. They're kind of neck and neck with attendees right now. I know MFF is really good just because of how compact it is and how much easier it is to find everyone. I like Anthrocon's ability to be spread out better. I do think Anthrocon has a chance at overtaking once again.
Over $52,000 was raised for the charity. There were 3,127 fursuiters in the parade, and the room was empty in 90 minutes, compared to 2 hours for 250 fursuiters last year. There were more pre-registration than the 9,702 attendees in 2022. There were 13,644 attendees, being Midwest FurFest 2022 by only 3. If you want to know more about Anthrocon 2022, how it went, and how it was almost a perfect furry convention, check out this video.